My name is Camille Hart, and I'm 29 years old. The text arrived at 2:17 p.m., a soft buzz against my palm that split my day cleanly in two. Evan. Hey, babe, just being transparent. Daria reached out. Her dad's cancer diagnosis has been rough. I'm going to spend Thursday and Friday night at her place for closure before our big day. Nothing will happen. Promise. The wedding's still on. Love you. I read it once, then again, then a third time, as if repetition might change the ink underneath the pixels. I typed, "Do what you need to do." 3 little dots appeared, disappeared, then bloomed again. Evan, OMG, you're the best. This is why I'm marrying you. So mature and secure. Can't wait for Saturday. I set my phone beside my keyboard and stared at the spreadsheet on my monitor until the cells blurred into a soft, humming white. A coworker asked if I was okay. Just a notification, I said, and smiled with all my teeth. When the clock crawled to 3:02, I picked up my phone and began to make calls. Hi, this is Camille Hart. I'm the account holder for the Redwood Conservatory Ballroom on Saturday. I need to cancel the reservation. The coordinator sucked in a breath I could hear through the line. Ms. Hart, I'm so sorry. Are you certain? You'll forfeit the deposit. I'm certain, I said. Please cancel the catering, the floral order, the DJ, the photo booth, everything attached to my contract. A pause like pity. I'll process it immediately. Next call. The honeymoon resort in Maui. Cancel, I said. Another deposit drifted into the ocean like a coin tossed at a prayer we won't be saying. Third call. Jordan, my best friend since sophomore year, the person who knows the difference between my silent and my stunned. Bring your key, I told her. I'm moving out today. By 5:40, I was back at our apartment. The light in the kitchen was slanted and forgiving. I packed quickly, only what was mine. My cookbooks, the blue mug with the hairline crack, my grandmother's quilt I'd been too afraid to wash. I left the art prints he loved, the pour-over setup he swore would save us money, the expensive pan that somehow needed its own detergent. I wiped countertops, turned out drawers, and resisted the urge to take one last photo of the place we'd pretended was permanent. On the kitchen island, I placed the engagement ring in its velvet box. I wrote on a yellow sticky note, "Foreclosure." I kept my handwriting neat so no one could mistake this for rage. I left my set of keys on top of the note and pulled the door shut. It clicked like a period. At 6:13 p.m., I parked outside Jordan's building. She came down the stairs 2 at a time, hair in a knot, eyes already reading my face. He said what? She asked, voice low. Closure nights, I said. 2 of them. With Daria. Jordan whistled softly. And the wedding's still on because he promised nothing would happen, I said. My voice stayed steady, which scared me more than if it had cracked. I canceled everything. Her eyes flicked to the back seat, stacked with boxes and a suitcase. She nodded once. Okay, you're at mine. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. We carried my life up 3 flights. Between trips, I scrolled to the text again, to the word closure, a word people use when they want to reopen everything. The part of me that takes minutes during meetings wrote one line in my head. Evan requests closure on Thursday and Friday. Wedding scheduled Saturday. The part of me that still loved him asked whether love counted as a kind of illness that excused bad judgment. The part of me that was not planning to be collateral damage replied, no. At 9:23 p.m., the explosion began. Not mine, his. Jordan, always 5 steps ahead of the internet, had preemptively blocked and muted everyone connected to Evan, but she kept one window open, like a scientist observing a lightning storm. It's his bachelor party tonight, she said, finger flicking through stories. Grant posted a boomerang of them clinking glasses at the Skyline rooftop. Grant was both Evan's friend and a part-time events assistant at the conservatory. Tidy Venn diagram, until it wasn't. My phone lit up. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Another number. Again. Then Jordan's screen flashed. Emergency, she read out loud. Does anyone know where Camille is? The venue just emailed Evan a cancellation. She glanced at me. He insisted on being CC'd on everything, I said. He likes to feel plugged in. The text started hitting Jordan's phone because I'd blocked known quantities. Grant, tell Camille this has to be a mistake. Evan is freaking out. Jordan. No mistake. Grant. Why would she do this 3 days before the wedding? Jordan. Ask Evan about Daria. 20 minutes of silence. Then another line from Grant. She's overreacting. She's ruining his life over nothing. Jordan typed, "Cool story." He wrote it and set her phone down like a gavel. By 10:11, Helen, Evan's mother, had found Jordan's number somehow and left 6 voicemails in a cadence that turned maternal concern into litigation. "This is ridiculous. We have family flying in. He's being a child. Camille did nothing wrong. We'll sue for the deposits." Answer, your phone. "Everything is in your name, right?" Jordan asked. "Everything that matters," I said. I tried to feel triumphant and felt tired instead. At 11:02 p.m., a new message pinged across Jordan's screen from a number labeled Roger, Evan's dad. "He's devastated. Please talk to him before you make anything permanent." Jordan's reply was a single blue bubble. "It's already permanent." We were halfway through folding my sweaters into her linen closet when the quiet between us shifted. I realized I was listening for sirens, for breaking glass, for some theatrical sound to match the scale of what had changed. But all I heard was the dryer in the unit next door and Jordan's soft curse when a hanger snagged her sweater. My body, confused by the lack of spectacle, began to shake. Jordan pressed a glass of water into my hand until my fingers remembered how to hold. "Do I make a statement?" I asked finally. She tilted her head. "You owe the internet nothing. He's going to spin it." "Then file your receipts, not your feelings," she said. "There's power in stillness." I nodded, and for once in my life, I obeyed the advice I would have given someone else. I opened my notes app and listed the facts. Wednesday, 2:17 p.m., Evan texts closure with ex Daria for the fry. I respond, "Do what you need to do." 3:06 p.m., canceled venue, vendors, honeymoon, moved out, ring left with note, foreclosure. No public posts, all documentation saved. At 12:19 a.m., the screen lit again, this time with a post Jordan read aloud so I wouldn't have to look. "Evan Marshall, friends and family, heavy heart. Our wedding is postponed due to Camille's anxiety and paranoia. I love her and will stand by her while she gets help. Please keep us in your prayers." The lie clicked into place like a deadbolt. Jordan looked at me. "One post," she said. Then silence. I uploaded a single slide, a screenshot of Evan's text with the words "foreclosure before our big day" underlined. Caption: "No mental health crisis, no paranoia. My fiancé informed me he'd spend the 2 nights before our wedding with his ex-girlfriend. I wished him well and canceled the wedding. Also, Daria's father posted photos from his golf tournament today. Do with that what you will." I hit share, then set my phone on the nightstand face down. The city breathed through the window. The building's heater clanked like an old man clearing his throat. Somewhere, a siren finally wailed, but it belonged to another story. I closed my eyes and pictured the ballroom, empty and echoing, the way light pools on polished floors when no one's there to dance. I pictured Saturday's aisle, unwalked. I pictured myself stepping into something else instead. A Saturday with no audience, a life with no performance clause, a future where the only thing happening behind my back is the past closing the door on itself. "Sleep," Jordan said softly, tugging a blanket to my shoulders. "The morning will be loud enough." It was. But for the first time since we booked the venue, I slept. By Thursday morning, the world had opinions. Evan's post about my supposed anxiety had spread faster than the flu. Friends from college messaged me cautious, sugar-coated texts. "Are you okay? We're worried about you." One even sent a link to an online counseling directory. Jordan read each message aloud with the dry humor of someone reading horoscopes. "Capricorn, today your ex rewrites reality. Stay grounded." By 10 a.m., my one-slide post had already done its job. People were screenshotting, whispering, comparing timestamps. One mutual friend messaged me, "Girl, Daria's dad literally posted golfing pictures. Evan's lying through his teeth." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The silence from me made him louder. By noon, Evan's mother, Helen, called from a new number. Jordan answered on speaker. "Camille, you need to take that post down," Helen said, voice brittle but rehearsed. "You're humiliating yourself and our entire family." "Everything I wrote was factual," I said. "Evan never meant for it to sound like that." she countered. He was trying to process emotions. You're overreacting. He was trying to process them with his ex for 2 nights, before our wedding, I said calmly. That's not processing, that's planning. There was a sharp inhale. You'll regret this stubbornness. I already regretted saying yes, I replied, and ended the call. Jordan mouthed 10 out of 10. That afternoon, I got a call from the Redwood Conservatory, the same coordinator from yesterday. Ms. Hart, she said carefully, Mr. Marshall just contacted us to reinstate Saturday's event. He said it was a misunderstanding and asked to put charges on your card. My pulse didn't even flicker. Decline it. The contract's canceled. If he wants a new booking, he can open his own account. I thought so, she said, relief tucked in her voice. For what it's worth, good for you. When I hung up, I laughed for the first time in 24 hours. A clean, shocked laugh that felt like something unclenching in my chest. But the quiet didn't last. By 5, my phone buzzed again. Jordan's face appeared in my doorway, holding her own phone like a warning flare. He's here, she mouthed. Through the peephole, I saw them. Evan, pale and desperate, Helen beside him in pearls and fury. Roger, his father, looking defeated, and behind them, Daria. Yes, Daria, clutching her purse like an alibi. And the worst part? They'd brought Grant, still in his venue uniform, as if this were a board meeting instead of a breakdown. Jordan tapped her Ring doorbell app. You ready to let them perform for the camera? I nodded once. Go live. Helen's voice came first. Camille, open this door right now. We can settle this like adults. Roger's tone followed, weary but pleading. Sweetheart, the rehearsal dinner's tomorrow. We have relatives flying in. You can't just end things like this. I stayed silent. Jordan's hand hovered over the mic, grinning. Then came Evan. Camille, please, just talk to me. He glanced toward Daria as if to gather strength. I only meant closure, he said. You know that. Behind him, Grant muttered, Man, this is insane. Jordan pressed the speaker. Her voice boomed from the doorbell. Did you seriously bring the woman you wanted closure with to convince Camille to take you back? Silence. Then Daria's tremulous voice. It wasn't like that. Then what was it? Jordan snapped. I needed to make sure there were no feelings left, Daria stammered. Roger tried stepping forward. Look, we all say stupid things under stress. Let's just fix this. You can still have your wedding. Evan cut him off. Dad, stay out of this. Helen crossed her arms. Camille, you're being pathetic. You're throwing everything away because of a text message. I finally spoke, my voice level, clear. No, Helen, I'm throwing everything away because of the kind of man who would send it. There was a pause long enough to hear the hum of the streetlight. Then Evan's tone cracked, half anger, half pleading. You'll regret this for the rest of your life. No, I said, you will. They stood there a while longer, muttering threats about lawyers and deposits, until building security approached. Jordan thanked the guard and saved the ring footage to the cloud. When the hallway was empty again, I exhaled, not a sob, not a sigh, just air returning to lungs that had been holding it too long. That night, Evan still went to Daria's apartment. At 10:42 p.m., my phone pinged with a forwarded Instagram story. Daria's hand holding a glass of wine, captioned, Sometimes the universe sends you back where you belong. In the blurred reflection of the glass, I could see him. Closure, I whispered. Jordan poured another cup of tea. Let him marinate in his own consequences, she said. By midnight, Evan had gone live on Instagram. We watched from her couch, the phone propped between us like a courtroom monitor. He was drunk, slurring words, eyes glassy. I just want everyone to know the truth, he said. Camille's painting me as a cheater. I never cheated. I just wanted closure. I wanted to go into marriage clean. Comments flooded instantly. Girl, you're literally at Daria's place right now. We can see her couch. That's her art in the background. Evan fumbled with his camera, angling it away from the wall. It's not, we're just talking. Someone commented, Didn't you say she had a mental health crisis this morning? Evan blinked. She does. Who cancels a wedding over a text? Another comment. Someone whose fiancé says he's spending 2 nights with his ex. His face flushed. You don't understand. Daria and I have history. At that, the live feed ended. We sat in stunned silence for a beat, then Jordan started laughing. The kind that starts small and grows uncontrollable, tears and all. Closure, she wheezed. The man just held a press conference for his own downfall. I smiled, barely, and all I had to do was stay quiet. Outside, the city pulsed with late-night traffic. Inside, the only sound was the faint ping of notifications as strangers dismantled Evan's story in real time. Sometimes you don't need to fight. You just need to give the truth enough time to speak for itself. Saturday morning, sunlight spilled through Jordan's kitchen window, golden and indifferent. I'd slept better than expected, maybe because my mind was finally quieter than the noise outside it. But peace never lasts long when the internet's still awake. At 8 a.m., Jordan's phone buzzed with a text from Diana, Evan's sister. I don't know what's happening, but Mom and Evan are telling guests the wedding is just postponed. They told people to show up anyway, to celebrate love. Jordan raised an eyebrow. A celebration of love? You think they're throwing a pity party at your old venue? I sighed. I think denial's their family hobby. By 11, my inbox confirmed it. The Redwood Conservatory sent me a short email. Just a heads up, several guests have arrived asking for the Hart Marshall wedding. We're hosting a corporate retreat today. Security is on site. I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Around noon, Jordan showed me a live stream from one of Evan's cousins. The video was chaos. Half the guests in formal wear, half in confusion, wandering through conference tables labeled Tech Innovations Retreat. In the background, a man in a lanyard carried a whiteboard past a woman in a lilac bridesmaid dress. Evan's mother, Helen, was arguing with the manager, gesturing wildly with a program in her hand. We were told the wedding was moved, not canceled, she shouted. The manager replied evenly, Ma'am, the account holder canceled everything on Wednesday. Please leave before we call the police. Then, out of nowhere, another familiar voice entered the frame. Older, gravelly, commanding. Are you Evan Marshall? The camera shifted. It was Daria's father, holding a folded newspaper and wearing a golf polo. The irony was immediate and perfect. Evan froze. Mr. Levinson, You told people I had cancer, the man thundered. You used my name to justify cheating on your fiancée? Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Helen tried to intervene. Sir, please, we don't need to. You stay out of this, he snapped. You raised him to think lying's a strategy, didn't you? The live stream ended with someone muttering, Oh my God, before the feed cut to black. Jordan exhaled slowly. Tell me you're saving that. Already screen recorded, I said. That night, after the chaos at the venue, my phone lit up again. A text from Evan. Evan, this could have been our night. Attached was a photo, him standing in what used to be our bedroom, wearing his tuxedo, holding the ring box open like an accusation. He'd used his spare key. I hadn't changed the locks yet. I stared at the photo for a long time, then typed back, Me. You should check your email. He didn't reply, but 10 minutes later, I saw the read receipt. Inside his inbox was the lease termination notice I'd already filed with our landlord. Effective immediately, I was off the lease. I would not be paying next month's rent. A new text arrived 30 seconds later. You can't do this. Did it. Where am I supposed to live? I typed, Daria seems comfortable. He didn't respond right away. Then came a flood. 43 voice messages, one after another, muffled breathing, slurred apologies, half arguments with himself. I didn't listen to a single one. Jordan looked at the stack of notifications on my screen and shook her head. Delete? Archive, I said. Some receipts are for peace of mind, not revenge. 2 days later, Diana called again. Her voice was strained, embarrassed, and almost kind. Camille, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. This whole thing's insane. Mom's been telling people you had a breakdown. But Dad knows the truth now. He saw the videos. He's furious. Furious at me? I asked. No, she said softly. At them. That same night, my email pinged again. A message from Roger, Evan's father. Camille, I owe you an apology. You showed integrity when everyone else lost it. You made the right call walking away. I should have raised my son better. You dodged a disaster. I sat there for a moment, reading those words twice. Not because I needed validation. I didn't. But because it felt like a door quietly clicking shut behind me. Outside, the city lights flickered like tiny exits. I thought of the ballroom, of the aisle I'd never walked, of the vows that would never leave my mouth. And for the first time, I didn't feel robbed of anything. I felt returned to myself. 3 weeks passed before I heard Evan's name again. By then, spring had started softening the city, the air no longer cold enough to sting. I'd gone back to work, picked up morning jogs, and learned how quiet peace could be when no one was demanding explanations. Then one evening, Jordan slid into my apartment with takeout and a smirk. You ready for the sequel? She handed me her phone. The headline of a local gossip forum read, Ex-fiancés Evan and Daria evicted from studio apartment, move into her mom's basement. Below it were photos, them carrying boxes, faces hidden by hoodies. Apparently he stopped paying rent to buy an engagement ring for Daria, Jordan said, except she found out and pawned it to cover bills. I blinked, stunned, then laughed. Not cruelly, just incredulously. I guess some lessons need to be repeated. But that wasn't the only fallout. Helen and Roger's marriage had imploded too. Roger finally filed for divorce after learning Helen had encouraged Evan's closure trip because she thought Daria's family had money from a legal settlement. She thought it would raise their status, Jordan said, scrolling. Turns out it only raised the bar for delusion. A few days later, I got an email from the Redwood Conservatory. Dear Ms. Hart, just a note that we've added Mr. Marshall and his mother to our client watch list after multiple disturbances during your canceled event. Thank you for handling matters with professionalism. We wish you the best. I read it twice, smiling at the phrase client watch list. Apparently, chaos had consequences. Then, another message, this time from Grant, the former events assistant who'd once sided with Evan. Camille, I owe you an apology. Evan and Daria had been texting for months before the wedding. I didn't say anything because I thought it was harmless. I'm sorry. You deserve the truth. I stared at the screen. My pulse didn't spike, didn't even shift. The truth didn't sting anymore. It just clarified, like light through clean glass. I wrote back, thank you, Grant. I appreciate your honesty. We all learn when it costs us something. That weekend, I joined Elliot, a quiet man from my climbing group, for coffee after a long session at the gym. He wasn't flashy, no curated charm, no filtered sincerity, just steady, calm. When he asked about my past, I told him the truth in the simplest way possible. I almost married someone who didn't understand the difference between love and convenience. He nodded. And now? Now, I said, I'm learning what both actually mean. He smiled, the kind that reaches the eyes. That's a better starting point than most. We talked about cliffs and balance and how some people chase adrenaline to feel alive, while others chase silence to heal. He listened, really listened. No interruptions, no pretending to fix anything. When he walked me home, he paused at the door. If it's any comfort, he said, you handled everything like an auditor for karma. I laughed. I didn't handle it. I just stopped pretending not to see the math. A week later, I ran into Diana outside a grocery store. She looked lighter, relieved. They're still together, she said, shaking her head. Miserably. Evan won't propose. Says marriage is just a piece of paper. Poetic, I said. That's what he told me too, when I asked about a prenup. She smiled sadly. You got out in time. Yeah, I said, and on purpose. That night, I sat on my balcony with a mug of tea, scrolling through the last of the messages I'd saved. The screenshots, the texts, the noise, all evidence of a life I'd already outgrown. I deleted them one by one until the folder was empty. The city below buzzed with distant laughter, cars, music. Life kept happening, stubbornly, beautifully. When my phone chimed again, it was Elliot. Dinner tomorrow? No closure required. I smiled. Sometimes survival isn't loud. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to choose peace over performance, self-respect over spectacle. The irony still makes me laugh. Evan wanted closure. I gave him exactly that. And somewhere between the canceled wedding, the lost deposits, and the freedom that followed, I learned the most unexpected truth of all. Closure doesn't come from a conversation. It comes from walking away, locking the door, and realizing you don't owe anyone an explanation for saving yourself.